Thank you for staying with us. Professor Okechukwu joins us this morning. He's a professor of strategic management and human capital development. He joins us from our Abuja studio. Good morning, Prof. It's good to see you again.
Good morning, Sam here. Good to see you guys.
Let's start, with, I don't know why I'm going back to what Jeffrey started with. It was an intense the past 24 hours have been quite intense all over the nation, and all kinds of issues are coming up here and there. But let's start with the conversation at the U.S. Congress, the hearing, the U.S. House hearing that took place. What do you make of it, and how helpful do you see that process for us as a nation in the issues that are being talked about?
I think it's important that the matter is taken to that platform. I believe and hope that it will lead to greater honesty in addressing the issues. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, so that there might be greater honesty in addressing the issues because two things on the table. You've raised the issues, you've taken it at a very big platform. My question, first of all, are all the relevant factors brought into all of this? And let me move to an angle clearly you'll not be expecting me to come from. Are you aware of the impact of the global arms trade on what is going on in Nigeria and other parts of the world? So there are other variables that are not taken into consideration, but the beauty of that engagement is that it's now possible for all stakeholders, global and national, to make their views and submissions, to come across on a platform that will be believed to be credible. I think is a step towards a solution. On whose side that solution will tilt, we can't say. But I'm glad that happened.
The angle of global arms trade that you talked about just reminded me of the previous efforts we have made as a nation to, as they say, follow the money, particularly in terms of the small arms and ammunition, spread all over the nation, and the attempts that have been made to mop up. It questions one thing only: whether or not we were sincere about the process and whether or not we sustained it. Otherwise, the question continues to be asked, and I'm not sure how much of that you saw play out yesterday. How do these non-state actors, these enemies of state, we can call them, get these arms? Where are they coming from? Do you think there is an end to this issue if we are unable to track that?
No, Ayo, seriously. I mean, let's get real. Guns are available for you to purchase on the international market. Any quantity you want, any variety, arms and ammunition are available. That's number one. Number two, when you speak of mopping up small and medium arms, particularly small arms, if you have a pistol, please tell me where you will go and surrender it, knowing that you're not secure. So these are things that don't drive the solution we're looking for. There is no surprise in how people get arms. As you are there in Lagos now, if you want a pistol, a Mossberg, which is a pump action, or a Jivam sporting rifle, which is a French product, you can get it in less than 48 hours. Smuggling is taking place. So I don't see the element of surprise at all of where it's coming from as part of what should even be a conversation. Guns are readily available. The American guns manufacturers need to be in business. Those in Ukraine need to be in business. Efforts are sometimes made to drive regional conflicts for that to happen. Supply lines are known.
Okay.
Initially, it was. That's why if you go today to argue for an end to an end to the right of Americans to wield arms, the gun lobby would make sure it never happens because they have to be in business. It was thought that Hollywood provided a very big market. It didn't. So, surprised? No, I'm not.
But Prof,
will it end? I doubt it.
The question then is, look at the areas where these activities are happening. According to Nigeria's official data, those are the poorest parts of the country. The question I'm asking is not whether or not the poorest parts of the country, so to speak. So one wonders, who is funding? That's the question that I'm asking. Are we able to track that? Are we able to track the money?
What is it we're able to track? Recall that about 3-4 years ago, under Buhari, the UAE government volunteered to give us, to make public a list of individuals suspected or accused of funding terrorism in Nigeria. And they're Nigerians. What was the action of the federal government? The government didn't ask for the list to be made public. Somebody at some point, I think from the office of the Attorney General, I'm not sure now, so I shouldn't be quoted, said that, yes, the list, they've sent a list, but to protect the privacy and the rights of the people. I shook my head. Your privacy, your right, you've been named definitely and boldly by a country other than Nigeria as being responsible for this, because that's a result of their own forensic audit and investigations, and the names are not made public. So to me, if today somebody says we don't know those who are sponsoring terrorism, I will respond that no names have been made public, but that honestly, those who should know those who are sponsoring terrorism in Nigeria and banditry. Those who know should also know that when you think about terrorism in Nigeria, you ask yourself, why is there the general impression all over the country that terrorists, particularly Boko Haram, bandits and all the rest of them, get away with whatever they do? As in, get away with it. Nobody gets arrested. If you hear that somebody is arrested, after some time he goes free. You hear of a bandit leader being turbaned somewhere in the north as a leader by an emir sitting. You hear of arrest, nothing happens after the arrest. You see people carrying high caliber military assault weapons. You see a 17, 18-year-old boy following a number of cows, and he's wielding an AK-47 freely in public. If you have anything beyond a double barrel, if you get a mouse bag, a pump action, you'll be arrested because it's not under license. So that feeling that there's some kind of state endorsement, state silence, or those who should know, looking away, has pervaded public consciousness, such that whether it's true or not, a lot of us, and I'm including myself, believe that there's the unfortunate suspicion that those who should stop this thing are not doing anything about it, and that they are not paying attention to the danger and the damage. Even like the impression is that, oh, it must be our northern brothers who are behind all of this. But I then look around and I ask myself, the rate of killings, kidnappings, banditry, and all of that going on in the north, if the killing of even Muslims when they raid places, it makes you wonder, if they are the ones sponsoring it, are they not intelligent enough to see that they're in the line of fire more than any other place? And you talk of poverty in the place. Yes, poverty is a very good, provides very fertile soil for this sort of thing. If you're not doing anything, and somebody comes and tells you, let's go and loot a store and collect 5,000, you will follow him. Why is it not taking place? Go and try and organize radicalization or banditry in Lagos. And tell me why somebody will leave what he's doing and follow you. Go and try to organize it in any way and tell me on nature and tell me why somebody will close down his shop and be listening to you about what to do or not do so that he'll give you food. So the place is thoroughly violated. Leadership, civilian leadership is not doing enough. And we're not talking about federal. First of all, every environment has a ward chairman, a council chairman, a local government before you talk about governor. How many of those people reside in their respective local governments? How many of them do anything on a weekly, monthly, or yearly basis? To what extent is their governance at that level? So when a social environment is totally disrupted and there are no binding activities and people are walking in and picking whoever suits them for nefarious activities, naturally, very naturally, radicalization will bloom, banditry will bloom, dissociation of social consciousness will bloom. And that's what we are having particularly in those places. And you see that there's a perception and reality of the wave of misconduct, which we've captured as a banditry, moving progressively down south, suggesting, yes, there's an origination point, but it's moving into other areas. And so if it comes to maybe Ondo State, and in Ondo State, the place is organized, local governments are functioning, the local government chairman gets 200 million a month, there's an indication of what is going. You have difficulty getting enough numbers to disrupt the place. So you find that in many places in the south where we say, oh, there's growing banditry and all of that, you don't find too many of the indigents being the activators. But then also, when you look at the killing in Owo, You then advise yourself, do not draw a typology. A lot of things are perpetrated by non-Northerners, and because of the reputation that has emerged over time, the assumption is always from there. Summary point I'm making, the problem is real. The belief that the state is not doing enough is solid. And the fact that most of those who have been apprehended, arrested, accused or whatever, we don't see what happens to them later. And the deliberate denial, too, of some of what is happening in the Middle Belt in particular, where we know villages where people have been wiped out, actually. Whether they're all Christians or all Muslims is another matter. But there are places that can be mentioned with specific names where people were killed and what do you call it? Those who killed them did not leave the place, but began to stay there for some time. Whether they are still there, I do not know. So let's not hide the facts or deceive ourselves.
All right, Prof. Just before we let off these issues around the hearing and get to politics, which I would like you to comment on, one of the things that Oge Onobugo, the Senior Fellow and Director, African Program, spoke yesterday, I would like to read exactly what she said. He said, if Trump administration proceeds with unilateral military action in Nigeria, it could endanger Christians it aims to protect and worsen divisions along religious lines. She was explaining the complexity, and framing it in one narrative may be skewed, may be wrong, even though she's not denying the fact that there's targeted Christian killing. So from what I heard and what we know, not that she has to tell us, we already know this. Some is driven for economic reasons, some is pure criminality, some people just want to Islamize some parts of Nigeria. It's as clear as crystal. So the argument of the federal government is not a state-sponsored agenda. It's the terrorists and extremists who are making a mess of the religion. So what do you make of her statement?
Naturally, when Trump made that statement, I wasn't particularly bothered. I noted two things. Trump is not a Nigerian, so he could only have been acting on information given to him. Some Nigerians went to make representations on the plight of Christians from the perspective they saw it. Then media reports from Nigeria were also referenced to lead to Mr. Trump making a statement on invading Nigeria. Her point should be understood. Number one, Donald Trump cannot invade Nigeria just like that, because assuming he invades Lagos or he hears it's happening in Maiduguri and he invades Maiduguri. Now, will Christians and Muslims be having different labels, such that when you want to shoot, whether from the air, you know that this is a Christian, a Muslim, you should kill him and protect a Christian. Or when you come in from the sky. So that's what you call a maximalist statement when an issue is brewing and you want to engage. When you take that extreme position, then conversations will begin. Some people will come and say, oh, no, it's not like that. There is no question of him coming to bomb Nigeria. That's not how it works. You can speak of selected action. So that was an extreme position we must put aside and look more substantively at issues. He expressed concern, deliberately, definitely, and that should caution us to say, look, the nonsense going on here has attracted enough attention, enough external campaign for a country like America to say, look, there's something wrong in this country, we should do something about it. It's for us to show there's nothing wrong. And the only way to show there's nothing wrong is to remove the things they are complaining about. Make banditry disappear, we won't talk about it. Clean out Boko Haram, we won't talk about it. Prevent the capturing of our girls who represent the future of this country, we won't talk about it. Allow people travel safely on the road without being kidnapped, we won't talk about it. So for as long as those things are happening, there is no amount of foreign visit, showing how wonderful we are on television or anywhere, it won't solve the problem. But the other truth of the matter, responding to Trump, is that every nation has its sovereignty. You cannot unilaterally invade a nation without consultation. If you want to invade Nigeria, remember there are interests, other countries have interest here. And that invasion or threatened invasion, don't forget the international economic angle too. Nigeria has lithium now and is being confirmed to be in large quantity. It's mostly China that's benefiting from it, if you ask me. I remember that one of the first countries to disagree with Trump was China. So there are so many variables on the table. America does not waste one bullet if it also has no interest to gain. But the summary point is that if they are saying bad things about us, and it's happening, what they are saying, they can point to it happening here, is for us to ask ourselves, what are we getting wrong? Not just that, what should we do to make this not to happen again? For it to disappear, not for us to whitewash it. Arguing back is not the same thing as removing the problem. What needs to happen is that the problem needs to be eliminated. We're unsafe, no question about that. It can be captured from various perspectives, as you have said. Groundnut sellers may even say that a targeted demographic group. You can argue that for as long as there's somebody who is being killed. You may say it's because of the type of hat he's wearing, among other things.
All right, Prof, well said. I think what everybody has now seen is that there's a problem, there's a bigger problem that we are pretending not to have. And now that it's gotten international attention, it's an opportunity for us to step up, get the collaboration we need, and solve this problem. It doesn't matter who is being killed. Right now, we need the killings to stop. Let's move on to what has been playing out in the policy. I know that you have a lot of understanding as far as this polity and politics is concerned. Now, one of the things I always tell the PDP members whenever I have a conversation with the leadership or whoever is a member, depending on what side of the divide they're on, is that at a time like this, we should be seeing robust opposition. I remember when this president was in the opposition, moments like this, young Jonathan, he told the president to resign if he can't protect the people. Now people are pulling up those tweets and all of that. But now PDP is busy quarreling around themselves as to who is bigger than who, and the show of shame at Wadata Plaza. What do you make of it?
There's nothing surprising in that. It's only a combination of something that has taken a long time to build up. You see, the PDP collapsed long ago. It's like you're wearing a dress and there's a sore under your skin. The body is decaying, but because you're wearing a dress, people think you're intact. And I'll take us far back to the contributory factors. Recall that at the time Secondus was made party chairman, the party was not zoned to the area. And the narrative at the time was that Wike, who used whatever means to muzzle himself through, take the Southwest, take the chairmanship, which was to have gone to the Southwest, and took it to the South-South, and that's how Secondus became chairman. Then the National Convention at the time, 2019, was not to have been in Port Harcourt. He moved it to Port Harcourt, and I think that's part of what cost Tambuwal the ticket. Because, remember, I was on the Tambuwal presidential campaign team, and one of the last places or persons we visited before going to Port Harcourt was Babangida, General Babangida. Now, as we were leaving the place, my phone rang. Hello, there's a lot of interference, noise interference.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so as we were stepping out of his house to board the flight, the chartered flight back to Port Harcourt, my phone rang and somebody said, hello. You could say a refined voice with a northern accent. Yes, is that Dr. Okechukwu? Yes. You may not know me, but we know you very well. We've been following you for over 25, 30 years. You see, you people are living in Ibrahim's house. Is that not so? I said, yes, sir, but who am I speaking to? He didn't give his name, but he just reassured. He said, well, I've called to tell you that the man you're following, Waziri, is not going to be the candidate. The candidate for PDP will be Atiku. So what I'm calling you is for you to join the campaign and give some direction to that campaign. I don't know what those around him are doing. Just to tell you so that you don't continue to waste your time with Tambuwal. I said, that's not how it works. That's the candidate I believe in. He was a fantastic speaker and all of that. He managed things well. He's younger and cool. The man said, well, I don't know. They told me what they're saying about you is true. They said that you're like that when you believe in something. That's the only thing you follow. But, and all of that. So that conversation went on. And we got to Port Harcourt and actually Tambuwal was clobbered in the primaries. And the man, what struck with me in his comment was that, look, there's no one really supporting your candidate. It's only Wike that's pushing him up. Dr. Okechukwu, ask yourself, Wike and Tambuwal, who are they? Who were they 10 years or 15 years ago? And he used this expression, they are just small boys, trailer will run over them. So I want you to move out of that, this is their foolishness. He took party chairmanship, he went and put the primaries in his backyard, and now you think he'll be allowed to produce the presidential candidate Who is Wike? These are small children. Wind will blow them away. So I want you to leave the... Of course, I didn't. Now, what point am I making with all of that? Wike has been a factor in some of the most important crises in that party for a number of years now. Remember Bode George's reaction to all of that. Now the election came, the primaries came and went. The next primary after that damaged the party further. Because in that primary, Atiku was said to have been to have Ekweremadu as his running mate. It was all over the place. Then, to everybody's surprise, at least that was the view in the PDP, he announced P2B. And the circumstance was that he was in the secretariat, announced it on one floor, whereas Ekweremadu was on another floor, and then fled the premises. The effect was that all hell was let loose. McCarthy, the party chairman, before that even, Atiku was a returnee. He had left the party. Tambuwal had also left the party. So how come it is those who are coming from outside that are the ones who are, generally picking the ticket? Sule Lamido was very angry about that. So was McCarthy, the party chairman. So was Ekweremadu. They felt they were taken for a ride. And they decided, as you will notice at that time, okay, he has got the ticket. Let's see how he will become president. Now, in what I call a foolish attempt by the PDP to appease these people, they made Sule Lamido, McCarthy and Ekweremadu technical advisors to the presidential campaign of Atiku Abubakar. Technical advisors. I don't think anything could have been more insulting to people, somebody like Lamido and co. And so that's why you notice nobody really was involved in that election of Atiku that he lost with Peter. And think back to the profile of the PDP in campaigns. Remember the Obasanjo days when Audu Obe was chairman? The PDP had 3 solid campaign trains. Audu Obe led one to different parts of the country. Atiku, as vice president, led another train of campaign. And Obasanjo the same. The nation was agog with political activities. Some people were complaining, hey, it's because they have the money as the ruling party, they can do all that. Now, there is no campaign. There was no campaign in that election. Even that of the APC, there was also no campaign. You just call a rally. People will gather in the stadium. The sun will beat them until they are calling on their ancestors for protection. After 6 hours of standing there, people will come in Agbada, shout whatever party it is. They are quite too tired and hungry to say power, but you believe a campaign has taken place. Unaware that many of them came just to collect whatever money and then the T-shirt they will use. So, bringing all that together, there is no surprise in what is going on at the party right now, because if it was a political party, Nyesom Wike should have been expelled right immediately after the last elections. If it's been a political party, anyway.
My sincere apologies for cutting in. It would seem like we need a national symposium on this matter, because you seem to be, maybe the members of the PDP should have you as their consultant, so that because I have always contended, why are the issues seemingly so intractable? But I guess that the coming days will show us some things, Prof. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Professor Okey Ikechukwu is a professor of strategic management. Done? Yes, we are. Thank you so much.
Oh boy.
Well, no, it's just a start, Prof. You know the conversation never ends. Well,
1 minute for his last.
Thank you so much for your time. We're definitely having you back, Prof. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Truly appreciate it. Now, when we return, there are one of those issues that we've been playing with all day, one of those intense moments that we had over the past 24 hours is up next, and we have our guest in the studio to discuss with us.